Hey, greetings. This is Sam with Why Are You Sober? I'm here to actually get back to my roots. A long time ago, I started my YouTube page by by reading from the AA Big Book. It started during COVID, uh, and I was thinking of ways that I needed to help myself stay sober during isolation and thought about like how what could I do to help others, and so I just started to read the AA Big Book, just a chapter a day, and it was like super fun. I really enjoyed it, and I went on to read other books about sobriety and ways of getting sober. I read one of my favorite books called The 12 Secular Steps of Sobriety. I have used that book and offered that book to many friends who want to be a part of AA, just not don't want to have the spiritual aspect of it. And I totally respect that and love that. So that I've read through that book. I read through Recovery Dharma, which is a Buddhist perspective on getting sober, and that is all that I love. I have also given that book to many people and have recommended it to them. So yeah, so I had also started reading the book Living Sober. This is a great um, book. I totally love this book. It is an older AA book. It was first published in the 70s. So the language can be a little jarring now, but it still has a lot of great substance to it. So I thought that I would actually get back to my roots and start reading these again and then commenting on it. I know it helped me during my last isolation during COVID, and uh, if you don't know, I live in the mountains of North Carolina, and I so I experienced and went through Helene, and my poor little town was devastated pretty hard. And so, and we're still cleaning up, dealing with the effects of it. Thankfully, we have running water back. We actually didn't have running water for over 4 weeks. That was really testing us, but we got through it through the very generous offerings of a lot of people. One of those people I'd like to thank is Wine to Water. If you don't know who they are, you should look them up. They're called Wine to Water, and they do some incredible work of bringing clean water to people all over the world. But they happen to be here in my backyard of Boone, and they helped us through it, so that was great. But so yeah, so just things have been pretty difficult. All that to say, have been dealing with some depression at times, and so I was like, you know what, I need to get back to my podcast. And also with the podcast, I thought maybe I would get back to reading. And I thought reading Living Sober, because that is the book that I dropped off on back on my YouTube reading days. So I'm going to pick back up. And we're actually going to read the very first section, which is just called Using This Booklet. So, this booklet does not offer a plan for recovery from alcoholism. The Alcoholics Anonymous steps that summarize its program of recovery are set forth in detail in the books Alcoholics Anonymous and 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, which I also read that book and commented on that. So if you want to find those readings, they are playlists on my YouTube page. Those steps are not interpreted here, nor are the processes they cover discussed in this booklet. Here, we tell others some methods we have used for living without drinking. You are welcome to all of them, whether you are interested in Alcoholics Anonymous or not. Our drinking was connected with many habits, big and little. Some of them were thinking habits or things we felt inside ourselves. Others were doing habits, things we did, actions we took. Okay, I want to take a second because I really love how they pointed out whether you are interested in Alcoholics Anonymous or not. I love finding books that go further than just AA stuff, because I hope that brings us into a larger audience. While I got sober in AA, and I am a huge supporter of AA, I think getting sober in a community is really important. I don't, also don't push it because it's not for everybody, and I totally get that. But I'm going to continue reading now. In getting used to not drinking, we found that we needed new habits to take the place of those old ones. For example, instead of taking that next drink, the one in your hand, or the one you've been planning on, can you just postpone it until you read to the bottom of the page 6? Sip some soda or fruit juice. Or, as I like to sip, I love tea. So, sip some tea instead of an alcoholic beverage while you read. A little later, we'll explain more fully what's behind this change in habits. After we spent a few months practicing these new sober habits or ways of acting and thinking, they became almost second nature to most of us, as drinking used to be. Not drinking has become natural and easy, not a long, dreary struggle. These practical, hour by hour methods can easily be used at home, at work, or in social gatherings. Also included here are several things we have learned not to do or to avoid. These were things that we now see once tempted us to drink or otherwise endangered our recovery. We think you'll find many or even all of the suggestions discussed here valuable in living sober, with comfort and ease. There is nothing significant about the order in which the booklet presents them. They can be rearranged in any way you like that works. Nor is this sorry. Just gonna have another sip of my tea and then turn the page. Nor is this a complete listing. Practically every AA member you meet can give you at least one more good idea not mentioned here. And you will probably come up with brand new ones that work for you. We hope you pass them on to others who can also profit from them. AA as a fellowship does not formally endorse nor recommend for all alcoholics every line of action included here. But each practice mentioned has proved useful to some members and may be helpful to you. That is something I love about AA and about just recovery in general is, hey, you may benefit from my story. You may benefit from somebody else's story. And that is another major reason I started my podcast, was to help recovering addicts tell their stories and reach people. So this booklet is planned as a handy manual for consulting from time to time, not something to be read straight through just once, then forgotten. Here are 2 cautions which have proved helpful. A. Keep an open mind. Perhaps some of the suggestions offered here will not appeal to you. If that is the case, we have found that instead of rejecting them forever, it's a better idea to just set them aside for the time being. If we don't close our minds to them permanently, we can always go back later on and try out ideas we didn't like before, if we want to. For instance, some of us found out that in our initial non-drinking days, the suggestions and comradeship offered by an AA sponsor helped us greatly to stay sober. Others of us waited until we had visited many groups and met many AAs before we finally called on a sponsor's help. Some of us found formal prayer a strong aid in not drinking, while others fled from anything that suggested religion. But all of us are free to change our minds on these ideas later if we choose. Many of us found that the sooner we started work on the 12 steps offered as a program of recovery in the book Alcoholics Anonymous, the better. Others of us felt the need to postpone this until we had been sober a little while. The point is, there is no prescribed AA right way or wrong way. Each of us uses what is best for himself or herself without closing the door on other kinds of help we may find valuable in another time. And each of us tries to respect others' rights to do things differently. Sometimes an AA member will talk about taking the various parts of the program in cafeteria style, selecting what he likes and letting alone what he does not want. Maybe others will come along and pick up the unwanted parts, or maybe that member himself will go back later and take some of the ideas he previously rejected. However, it is good to remember the temptation in a cafeteria to pick up nothing but a lot of desserts or starches or salads or some other food we particularly like. It serves as an important reminder to us to keep a balance in our lives. In recovering from alcoholism, we found that we need a balanced diet of ideas, even if some of them did not look at first as enjoyable as others. like good food, good ideas, did us no good unless we made intelligent use of them. And that leads to our second caution. B. Use your common sense. We found that we have to use plain everyday intelligence in applying the suggestions we follow. Like like almost any other ideas, the suggestions in this booklet can be misused. For example, take the notion of eating candy. Obviously, alcoholics with diabetes, obesity, or blood sugar problems have had to find substitutes so they would not endanger their health, yet could still get the benefit of the candy eating idea in recovery from alcoholism. Many nutritionists favor protein rich snacks over sweets as a general practice, and you know what? That still is the practice today. Also, it's not good for anybody to overdo this remedy. We should eat balanced meals in addition to the candy, and that is true. And I have a huge sweet tooth. Another example is the use of the slogan "Easy does it." Some of us have found that we could abuse this sensible notion, turning it into an excuse for tardiness, laziness, or rudeness. That is not, of course, what the slogan is intended for. Properly applied, it can be healing. Misapplied, it can hinder our recovery. Some among us would add to it, "Easy does it, but do it." And that is true. If you don't do it, then you're not acting and you're not living. So you can't easy do it then. Yeah, if you're not doing anything. It's clear that we have to use our intelligence in following any advice. Every method described here needs to be used with good judgment. One more thing, AA does not pretend to offer scientific expertise on staying sober. We can share with you only our own personal experience, not professional theories and explanations. So these pages offer no new medical shortcuts on how to stop drinking if you are still doing it, nor any miraculous secrets for shortening or avoiding a hangover. Sometimes getting sober can be done on your own at home, but frequently prolonged drinking has caused such serious medical problems that you would be better advised to seek medical or hospital help for drying out. If you are that seriously ill, you may need such professional services before you can possibly be interested in what we offer here. And that is really true. If you are seriously that ill and need medical assistance, go get that assistance. And there is a lot of free stuff out there. And if you need help, reach out. You can definitely leave me a message, send me a message, and I'll help connect you to someplace that you need. So, many of us who are not that sick, however, have sweated out in the company of other AA members. Because we have been through it ourselves, we can often help, in a layman's way, to relieve some of the misery and suffering. At least we understand. We have been there, and that is the truth. AA has been one of the most non-judgmental places I've ever been in my life. So this booklet is about not drinking, rather than about stopping drinking. It's about living sober. We have found that for us, recovery began with not drinking, with getting sober and staying completely free of alcohol in any amount, and in any form. We have also found that we have to stay away from other mind-changing drugs. Amen to that. We can move toward a full and satisfying life only when we stay sober. Sobriety is the launching pad for our recovery. In a way, this booklet is about how to handle sobriety. Before we couldn't, so we drank. Amen to that. So that's part one. I will pick up on part two. I don't know that I'm going to do this on a daily basis like I was doing before, but I'm definitely going to at least do it on a weekly basis. Maybe more often. We'll see how I'm feeling. But thanks for joining. I hope you all have a great day. And peace, love, and a whole lot of joy, guys. Bye.